Greg, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. We can hear you fine. We'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, if everyone would sign in, we'd appreciate it. I see some of you have already started doing that. The old timers have gotten used to that. Not saying that you're old timers, but just, you know, used to our way of doing things. If you're not familiar with this, if you just simply go over to your control panel, it's the light blue little panel that pops up when you logged in to go to webinar. There's an area that says questions. It's one of the different choices you have over there, and just click the plus sign beside the word questions if it's not open already, and just type your name in. And if it's got a minus sign, that means it's already open. Just type your name in, and then click send, or I don't know. I don't ever see what you guys see, so I'm not sure exactly what it says. Somebody tell me, Jerry, how do you send? How do you tell it to go, to send it to me? What's it look like? Hello there, Tom. Thanks for being on the call. We actually have someone from Europe on the call tonight besides Greg. Okay, Lynn, welcome to the call tonight. Glad to have you with us here. If you would just go over to the question panel, sign in. Sometimes people ask why we ask people to sign in. It's not so that we can see you're here, because obviously I can see that you're here already. It's so that we know that, number one, you can hear us okay, and also so that we know that you know how to communicate with us, because we can't hear you. If you talk or if you raise your hand, we can't tell what you're trying to communicate with us. The only thing we can tell what you're saying is if you use the text box. Jerry says he enters the question in the dialog box and presses the orange arrow. Okay, so now we know. I've never been on your side of the fence, folks. So after all these years using this, now I know how to do it. All right. So we just have a couple of people. Bob, I see you just arrived there. Thanks. If you go ahead and sign in. Lynn, if you would sign in, appreciate that. Dennis, appreciate you being on the call. Dennis, I think this is your first time with us. If you could let us know how you heard about us or who invited you, I'd appreciate that. Oh, Helena's here, not Bob. Okay. Well, glad to have you here with us. Thanks for letting us know it's you. Okay, and Dennis, if you missed how to sign in, if you go to the question area in the control panel, just press the plus sign beside the word questions, and the little area will open up, and it's a dialog box, and you just type in your name, and that way we'll know that you're here, and press the orange arrow, and it'll send, and we'll see that you're signed in. So we're just waiting for a few people to sign in. We can get going there. Dennis and Lynn, and I think that's everybody. Okay. Okay, Dex, I see you here. Good to see you. We'll be getting started in just about 30 seconds.
Tom, while we're waiting, is there anybody on tonight who is someone who has not heard any of the basic or information we've spoken about over the past year?
Probably. I'm not sure. I think there's probably some people. Why don't we just ask everybody that question? Is there anybody who has not heard any of the basic webinars where Greg talks about the basics of grading coins and that type of thing? Just in the dialogue area, just say me or something like that if you have not heard some of the basic webinars. kind of hard to tell because some of the people I suspect may not have are some of the ones who've not signed in. So we can't get a definite on that. All right, let me go ahead and get us started because we don't want to hold things up. We have on the line with us Greg Halloway, who is currently residing in Europe. He has 2 residences in the United States, and they're both beautiful places, one in Ocean City, New Jersey, and one in Palm Beach, Florida. So you might say, why in the world is he over on the other side of the world living in Europe?
Our cats live in one house and the other one's empty.
Your cats are living up there. Well, Greg went to Europe about 1.5 years ago on a 3-week buying trip, and he just never came back. He went there to buy European rare gold coins. Basically, he went there on a treasure hunt, and the opportunities were just so huge that he called me up before he was supposed to be back here, and he said, "Tom, I'm not coming back." I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said he decided to rent a house there. He said for his wife and his small children. His older girls are in college, and so they stayed here, and he's just been there ever since. It's just the opportunities are too great. He's buying coins there that are probably anywhere from 5 cents on the dollar to 10 cents on the dollar of what they'll be worth a few years from now. And you know, compared to U.S. coins of the same rarity and quality, they're just hugely underpriced. So I'll let him tell you more about that. But Greg is one of the world's leading experts on rare gold coins. He's been collecting and trading them for about 40 years now, and he's considered by the people who are in the top of the business to be one of the world's top 5 or 6 people as far as expertise in the rarities. Dennis, I see your hand raised. I can't do a whole lot about it. If you're having a problem, you can call our office and talk to tech support. It's 561-753-5998. And maybe they can show you how to get in the question panel if you're having a problem with that. In any case, Greg is highly qualified to be our speaker tonight. I'm sure you're going to learn a lot. I've been looking over the PowerPoints, and it's an exciting introduction tonight. He's actually starting a 6-part series tonight. Tonight would be an overview of the 5 key areas of out of the millions of different coins that are out there. There's 5 types of coins that he's concentrating on finding for himself, his family, and his friends and our clients. And tonight would be an overview of those 5, and then each of the next 5 weeks he'll be talking about drilling down and talking in detail about one of those 5 types of coins. So without further ado, let me turn the mic over to Greg Halloway.
Thank you, Ed. You'll be my Ed McMahon, I guess.
That's right.
When I was 13, I went to my first large coin convention in Washington, D.C. I've been buying and selling rare coins professionally ever since. I have never had a job, even as a kid. Never worked in an ice cream store like my wife did, or never worked in a restaurant as some of our kids do, or had a newspaper route or anything. I started right off the bat buying and selling coins when I was a kid. And my first large coin convention I walked into was 13, and the experience can be overwhelming if you don't know anything about coins. That there's, in a typical large coin show, there's probably around 100,000 to 500,000 coins on display. So that's a lot of coins. And it'll be split up by booths if you've ever been to an antique show, similar type of concept, or a craft fair or something, each person will have a booth with his coins on display out in showcases, and he might have backup boxes with thousands more of coins in them, or bags of them on the floor of different types of coins. I know because I used to go to coin shows and had to go literally in a moving van to carry around our inventory of all kinds of coins from different parts of the country. Well, that's just in the U.S. Now magnify that times the world, where there's over 200 countries, and now you're going to a coin show that's a world event, and not only are there hundreds of thousands of coins there, but they're from all over the world, and just being able to identify what it is a monumental task. I've shown pictures of coins and coins to various people who are extremely intelligent, and they can't even figure out what country it is that it comes from, let alone any of the details. So treasure hunting coins is an exciting opportunity, but it's also a daunting task. In the same way that the treasure hunter goes into unknown territory and simply is looking around with his metal detector, just aimlessly hunting, he could be out there for a few minutes. He could be out there for a few hours. He could be there for the rest of his life, combing some gigantic field looking for that hidden treasure. Now, most of you might know, if you've spent time with a metal detector at a beach, more likely than not, the best treasure you're going to come up with is a beer can opener, or some pocket change that maybe a quarter or something that someone dropped on the beach. Certainly nothing that's going to get you rich. But great treasures do exist, or else they wouldn't bring out the treasure hunter in us to hunt all over the world. There have been tremendous hoards of gold that have been lost at sea due to storms over the years, when, especially during the period of the 16 to 1800s, when Europeans came to the New World specifically for the purpose of trying to steal its gold and take that back in their ships back to Europe. And many of the cargoes of those ships were lost in big storms. One of the most famous treasure hunters is Mel Fisher. Mel is now dead, but he has a museum in Florida now, in Key West, I believe, where you can see some of the treasures from the famous Spanish Atocha, which sank in 1622, that he discovered in South Florida. So that was Mel's life work, to find this treasure ship, and it involved not just merely aimlessly looking in the ocean, but considerable research back in libraries trying to find out the route of this ship and where it may have come to rest. So treasure hunting with coins doesn't start by going to a coin show and just aimlessly bouncing around the room. Now, it starts with research. So I'm trying to draw the parallel here in the same way that Mel's treasure hunting started with endless hours of research in the library. My treasure hunting starts the same way, with endless research determining what's truly rare and desirable. I'm having a bit of a problem with the PowerPoint. Is it moving on your end? Because it doesn't seem to be working too well on mine. Okay.
Yeah,
is it moving?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So to find that ultimate treasure chest filled with gold takes a bit of research. And that research is what I've spent my life doing. Now, let me break down my career for you. I started collecting coins when I was 7. I turned professional when I was 13, going to my first major coin convention. I started taking tables as a dealer at coin shows when I was 13. And studied the American coin market in an in-depth way. I was very fortunate to have an individual grow up in the same neighborhood as me in Virginia that today is regarded as one of the top experts in the world. He is about 5 or 6 years older than me, and he taught me the coin business when I was 13. So that education helped launch my career, and that is what gave me the insight and wisdom in the U.S. coin market. I was very fortunate to have one of the world's great brains teaching me when I was a kid. So I learned the rare coin business in the United States, became quite proficient at it, and then in the late 1980s started to focus on learning European coins, turning my attention to primarily English coins. It was not, again, until recently that the decision was made to focus on European coins, primarily English, in a major way, and that is because the values of American coins went through such an incredible increase in the tremendous bull markets that we've had over the last few decades that have taken coins to price levels that literally are unimaginable. For instance, at my first coin show, when I was just 13, I bought a rare dime made in 1876 at the Carson City Mint. Now, I thought this coin was rare, and I had great instincts as a kid and knew what to buy when most people had no clue as to what to do. So I bought this coin for $125 and thought that it was a major rarity, and at the time, that was 6 times the price for an ordinary dime of that time frame. So I was trying to resell it to make a little money and offered it to a dealer for $150 or $175, I don't remember the exact number. And he looked at it and said, you know, this is a nice coin, but ironically, I've got one also, and I'll sell you mine cheaper than what you want for yours. So I said, well, how much will you sell me yours for? And he said, well, how about $115? So I thought, that's less than what I paid for the other one. And I still had some money left over, and I said, okay, I'll buy it. So now I had 2 of these 1876 Carson City dimes and was walking around the room trying to sell them. These were proofs, by the way. Proofs are specially made presentation pieces, and they're usually rare. So I was offering them for sale at a profit, and someone bought them, and I sold them for about $275 or $300. So I made money on the 2 and sold them. And this entire story I talked to you about today all happened on the same day back in 1971. Well, I've never seen one since then until recently, and it turned out that those were the only 2 known to exist. I had them both when I was a teenager, and today the current value is $186,000 for just one piece. So $125 to $186,000. That's gives you an idea of how incredible the bull market has been in American rare coins. These 2 dimes were quite rare. I knew they were rare, but it turns out they were rarer than I thought, as those were the only 2 known to exist. Well, there are lots of great English coins I can talk to you about where there's only a few known to exist that are not worth anything close to $186,000. So what has happened in America has not yet happened in Europe. The prices of European coins have not gone up at the same pace. My favorite focus is English coins, and that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Why do I focus on English coins? Well, quite simply because Great Britain was the world's biggest empire in history, bar none. At the peak of the British Empire under the rule of Queen Victoria, the British Empire controlled 25% of the land mass of the world, as well as 25% of the population of the world. So Great Britain had tremendous power over the world, and as a result, its coins are collected worldwide. Despite the size and power and interest in English coin collecting, the markets in England have never been modernized the way they have in the United States. I'm not going to take the time tonight to go into the great details of the modernization of the U.S. coin market, but I have given a series of seminars on this subject, and we are going to be giving those again starting next Wednesday, I believe at noon Eastern Standard Time. We'll give a series of 4 talks, a beginner, an intermediate, an expert, and a genius level that will explain the modernization of the European coin market and how that is about to happen to Europe.
Yeah, actually, so, that'll be starting a week from next Wednesday on the 23rd. I'll announce that at the end, Greg.
Okay. So this opportunity is tremendous because English coins have had a virtually unbroken 100-year history of going up in value. So it's tremendously stable store of wealth, but it has not experienced the enormous increase in values that have happened in the United States yet. So what is the plan then? How, with all these millions of coins to pick from, how in the world do we figure out which ones? Well, what is the difference between the right and the wrong coin? Now, here's a really good example. We're looking at 2 gold coins. This particular gold coin is called the Sovereign. The one on the left was from 1839. That's Queen Victoria on it, who again was considered emperor of practically the world in terms of the zenith of power of the British Empire. Queen Victoria is the longest reigning ruler of Great Britain in its entire history. And on the right, we have an English sovereign from Queen Elizabeth II. Now, they're both gold, so they're both desirable, but the one on the left is the one we want, not the one on the right. Well, what's wrong with the one on the right? Well, it's not rare. That's the reason. So we have to have something that's rare. And by rare, we need something that's no more than 1,000 known. Once you get beyond that, it's not rare enough to be appealing to people who have serious money, and those are the ones that we want to appeal to. The right coin must be in high-grade condition also. Coins are graded on a point scale from 1 to 70. 1 is virtually destroyed, so you can barely tell what it is. And 70 is absolutely perfect without a distraction or mark or anything. The coin you're looking at is pretty close to 70, so that's about the high end of the scale. You can see that's a beautiful coin from 1887 from England showing St. George slaying the dragon. It's a great work of golden art. So people want coins in high-grade condition. Well, that should seem pretty obvious that people want things that are high quality. It's no different than any other field of collectible. Gemstones, people don't want a diamond that's got some gigantic hack mark on it or spots all over it. No, they want something that's pristine and sparkly white. People don't want a painting that someone's taken a knife to and scratched off half of it. No, they want something that's beautiful that they can display in their house. Same with antique furniture or a collector car. You can have 2 collector cars, let's say Corvettes from the 1950s, and one is beat to pieces and the other is pristine. Well, obviously the one that's pristine is the one that people want. The right coin must be popular and recognizable too. English coins, as I mentioned, are extremely desirable because of the size of the British Empire. The coin on the right, an Indian rupee made out of base metal, is not particularly desirable. So it's got to be something popular and recognizable, and hopefully silver or gold. There are millions of coins available, but we're going to focus on just 5 areas. Now, how did I pick these 5 areas? Did I just, throw all the different coins in a bucket and reach in and grab out 5 and figure, I only got time to focus on 5 different coins, so I'll just grab them at random? No, again, we started the treasure hunting experience with research. I didn't just go out there and start randomly buying. There's a purpose to what we're trying to accomplish. What is it we're trying to accomplish? We want the best. That's the bottom line, is we want the best. Well, why do we want the best? Well, because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants the best, and the best is what performs in value. Let's go back to the story of my dime. At the same time I bought that coin for $125, the average one was worth $20. So I paid 6 times the price of the average one. Now today, the average one's worth $1,000, so it went up in value a lot too. But it's blown away by what happened with the great rarity that's now worth $176,000. So history has shown that you make the most money by buying the best, not by just buying something that's merely okay. So what is the best? Well, hammered coins, are an intriguing part of Great Britain's history. Great Britain is not only revered as the world's largest empire in history, it's also revered because it's the only country in the world that has made coins on its soil virtually continuously for over 2,000 years. No other country can lay claim to it, so Great Britain is the ultimate in terms of a collecting experience. Now, prior to the mid-1600s, English coins were made by a handmade method called hammered. The minter actually took a hammer and hammered the coin with the die that was handmade and engraved and created the piece of metal or coin that we're looking at. Now, this particular coin is not particularly in great condition. It's just okay. So hammer coins are extremely desirable and interesting because of the fact that they're handmade. It's kind of like the same idea of you go to buy a Rolls Royce because it supposedly got a handmade, handcrafted interior, or same with an Aston Martin. Is it worth the price they ask for it? Well, I don't know. But the reason why it's so expensive is because of the handmade element, which is considered exotic. Well, hammer coins are exotic from that standpoint. But we don't want just any hammered coin, because the one you're looking at and right in front of us is okay, and there are lots of people that would like to have it, but we want the best. Okay, now here's the best. This is a wonderful portrait of Queen Elizabeth I, one of the more famous rulers in world history. Queen Elizabeth I was the daughter of Henry VIII and was a very powerful leader that allowed Great Britain to expand through military battles throughout Europe and built itself up to a real powerhouse. If you know much about the English coat of arms, you'll know that Queen Elizabeth II uses the same device for all of her coats of arms that Queen Elizabeth I uses with the Elizabeth Regina, or ER, on the back of the coin, as you can see there. So that's where Elizabeth II takes her heritage from. Now, this beautiful portrait of the flowing hair of Queen Elizabeth I with her crown is quite beautiful, and this is a large hammered gold coin in spectacular condition. This is definitely suitable for the great collection of the best we're trying to put together. So that would be area one. Now, the second area we want to buy are 5 guineas. This beautiful coin that you're looking at was made in 1688 by King James II. The 5 guinea was made starting in 1668, 20 years earlier than this, by King Charles II. It's been made ever since. It's still being made today with Queen Elizabeth II's image on it, but it's called a 5 pound now instead of a 5 guinea. Same size coin, same weight, same gold content, but the Great Britain just changed the name from guineas to pounds. It's a beautiful coin, and it's also the largest gold coin that's been regularly issued anywhere in the world. So that rather prestigious title that the 5 guineas and 5 pound has makes it the ultimate coin, or what I call the king of coins, as the world's largest. So people like big coins, the bigger the better. And so we are focusing on, this is our second area of building a great collection because it's the biggest and best. The next are proof coins. Proof coins are specially made as presentation pieces for royalty. They weren't made for you and me. They were made as presentation pieces for royalty, and they're made differently. You can look at this coin and clearly see there's something different about it. If you had it in front of you, you could actually see yourself in it. That's right, it's mirror-like or reflective. What happens is that a lot of extra care that went into the manufacture of proof coins. They are highly polished at the mint. They're struck twice instead of the normal one time to give it a very sharp impression. So it comes out looking like an absolutely breathtaking, beautiful work of art. Proof coins are the ultimate state of preservation. So that's the third area of the market in British coins we're going after, proof gold coins. The next are crowns. What's a crown? A crown is a large silver coin made by Great Britain. The crown has actually taken on a worldwide title, and any large silver coin, the largest silver coin of any country in the world is called a crown. For instance, the American silver dollar is called a crown. The 8 escudo, the Spanish pieces of 8 are also called crowns. There are numerous countries around the world made crown-sized coins, and Great Britain is no exception. There are more crown collectors than virtually any other type of coin in existence in the entire world. It's the most popular coin by denomination in the world. So the millions of people who collect crowns make this a particularly important area for us to focus on, and that's why silver crowns are area number 4 that we're focusing on. Mega rarities is the next area that we're focusing on, and those would be coins where there are 20 or less known. So you're looking at a gold coin, but in the mega rarity category, it doesn't necessarily have to be a gold coin. It can be a silver coin or even a nickel or copper coin. If it's something of extreme rarity, that's something that we want to buy, and the criteria for, again, a mega rarity would be 20 or less known. The particular coin you're looking at happens to have 3 things going for it. It's part of our sovereign collection, which is one of our areas we're trying to buy. It's a proof coin, which is very, very desirable, and it's a mega rarity in that there's only between 3 and 5 known to exist. So this is a particularly great coin because it hits 3 of the categories. The next area that we want to go after are sovereigns. Sovereigns are gold coins. You're looking at one here. And the sovereign is the longest running coin series in world history. It was first made in the late 1400s for King Henry VII. It's still being made today. The sovereign's present image would have Queen Elizabeth II on it. Now, the sovereign is, like the crown, one of the most widely collected coins in the world. I'm not quite certain whether they're more sovereign collectors or more crown collectors, but they're both up there as the 2 most widely collected coins in the world. So as a result, they're extremely desirable. Last week I talked about the sovereigns, and here's a very interesting fact. There are about 750 of them for a complete set from the first one in the late 1400s up to the present time. They will have hailed from half a dozen different countries as a part of the British Empire, and a complete set in gem condition is worth about $15 million. So a complete set in very high-grade condition. The coin you're looking at right in front of you is what we call a gem, meaning that it's in beautiful high-grade condition. a complete set in gem condition of English sovereigns from all the countries around the world that minted them would be worth about $15 million with numerous mega rarities as part of that collection. By contrast, for $15 million, you can buy one coin in America. So if that doesn't underscore how outrageously underpriced English coins are, this collection of English sovereigns, in my opinion, should be worth hundreds of millions, perhaps $1 billion. So as you can see, the coin we're looking at is in spectacular high-grade condition, and that's an important part of what we look for in all 5 of the areas. It's not just that it has to be a sovereign or a crown or a 5 guineas or a proof coin or a mega rarity. It's got to be all that, plus it's got to be in phenomenal condition. I look for the finest known possible in all 5 areas. So we are planning to build what we envision will be the world's best collection of high-grade, finest known mega rarities in all 5 of these areas. These 5 areas I've chosen because they're the ultimate. There's nothing else that falls in the category of the ultimate except the 5 areas that I've discussed, and I'll flip back over them again one more time. This is the sovereign. These are mega rarities. These are crowns, proof coins, 5 guineas, and large hammered gold coins. Those are the areas that we're working on, and as you can see, it's a phenomenal collection that we're building with our friends. I've been working on it now for a few years, and our goal is to build a collection that's going to cost us, at present money, somewhere between $25 and $50 million. We've spent about $6-7 million so far building this great collection, and through technology and Tom's help, we can do this as a group, but yet still hold them individually, which is a pretty exciting way to do that. So how do we buy the right coin then? Well, you could travel the world searching through tens of thousands of coins, trying to figure out which one to buy, or be out there with that metal detector out on the beach hoping to get lucky, or you can partner with us to build the world's best collection of great European rarities and take advantage of the vast experience that I have in this area and the tremendous connections that I have around the world to search and find these. It's a labor of love. I enjoy it immensely, and I'm excited about this because not only is it fun, but it should make us all a considerable return on our investment with the safety of knowing that the market is secure and stable with 100 years of history. Tom, you have any thoughts, and does anybody have any questions?
Okay, let's go ahead and ask people to go to start putting their questions in the question area. There's no questions up there right now, but if you have questions or comments, please go ahead and start putting them in now. Now is the proper time. And in the meantime, I've got a couple announcements I'd like to make. Let me switch presenters here. Tech support, can you switch me over to being the presenter role, please? Okay. You should be seeing on your screen a slide that says contact us. This is our office telephone number and our new email address. Some of you have the old info at greghalloway.com, kind of a long email address. We got a much shorter, easier email address to remember. and so we're switching everything over to this. So if you'd put this in your address book, rarecoins@att.net, particularly if you need to get a copy of a recording. Sometimes people will just reply to the notice, to whatever email address the notice came from. Please don't do that, because that can delay your response by as much as a week. Make sure that you write directly to this email address. And also, as a favor to me, don't put me on the list for jokes, recipes, and so on. This is strictly a business email address, so only send emails about Rare Coins to this address. If you'd like to get in contact with Greg and make an appointment with him, usually the first question that comes in is, how can I get started? How can I actually get involved with getting some Rare Coins in my portfolio? The first step is always a private phone conversation, a consultation with Greg. Unlike a lot of people who do this kind of thing, none of whom, by the way, do it nearly as well as Greg, he does not charge for consultations. So don't worry about that. Just give us a call at the office. We'll arrange a time for him to get in contact with you. It's always better for him to call you because of the time difference, and also because it's difficult to reach him in Europe. So it's better for him to call you. This is the telephone number to do that with. Now, here's a very, very important announcement. Next week only, we're going to move the webinar. So the Treasure Hunting 201 is not going to be on Tuesday next week. Next week only, we're going to move the webinar to Monday. Be at the same time, be at 6 p.m. But on June the 14th, the webinar that normally be on Tuesday, June 15th, is going to be on Monday, June 14th. So those of you that are used to attending the Monday night Investor Club webinars, we'll have two webinars that one night, 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So please note that on your calendar. The same link that you used tonight will work for next week, but it will be on Monday night instead of Tuesday night. Very, very important that you make that change. Now, one other announcement, and let me just switch the slide here. Okay. Greg's going to do a very special educational series. We haven't done the basic webinars for quite some time, so we have a lot of people that have been attending basically the advanced webinars like the one he did tonight. And so some of you need to circle back and learn some of the basics. So we're going to do this on in daytime hours. A lot of people have been asking for webinars that could be done during the day. So we're going to try this out. We're going to do Wednesdays at noon. This is Eastern time. All of our webinar announcements are always done on Eastern. So Wednesdays at noon, starting not next Wednesday, not tomorrow, not next Wednesday, but on the 23rd. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, we'll be doing what we call the basic webinar, how to hedge your investments using gold, and going through all the basics of why gold is a very important, or should be a very important part of your portfolio, and how rare gold coins fit into that. Then the next week will be the intermediate. That'll be on the 30th. The advanced, what makes a rare coin valuable, will be on the 7th of July, which, by the way, is 2 days before my birthday if anyone wants to send cards and money and presents and so on. And then on the 14th of July will be what Greg calls his PhD webinar. So the first three are your bachelor's, master's, and whatever, whatever the equivalent would be. So anyway, we're going to have the 4 webinars, and they're structured to give you the full spectrum of knowledge. They're webinars that Greg has done in the past, but they're going to be updated. And tell your friends, if you know people that are interested in gold and they need to get the basics down, this would be a great way to do it. If you need a review, this would be a good time to do it. If you've been attending webinars for the last couple of months and we haven't done the basic webinars during that time, this would be a great time to get caught up. All right, I don't see any questions on the board, so we're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes if we don't have questions. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask about, we always like to take questions first on the contents of the webinar we've just done. So let's see if we have any questions in that area. And if not, if you have questions on anything having to do with rare gold coins, first of all, and secondly, gold in general, we'd be glad to take them. Precious metals, how to use precious metals to hedge yourself and protect you against inflation and potential hyperinflation. So I'll let you have a few moments to type your questions in. And Greg, if you could just address something we haven't done for a little while, the potential for hyperinflation, I think that would be of interest to folks.
Yeah, also a quick update also, which I should have done at the beginning of the seminar. Gold hit a new record high earlier today and then retreated slightly from it. It hit a record high of $1,250 an ounce, which is indicative of the continued concerns that we are either on the verge of hyperinflation or that it's actually already started. So the vast amount of printing that's going on around the world from all the different central banks is certainly contributing toward the concerns with gold being the ultimate money. And we see that happening, and that gold continually moving up, setting new records in all major currencies of the world, I might add, over the past couple of months. So I remain confident that gold is going to continue to keep rising as more and more people begin to realize that their paper currency is strictly not worth anything.
Okay. And by the way, it actually went a little higher than 1250, Greg. I don't know if you saw, but it went to 1253.40. And the reason I think that's an important distinction is because last December it hit almost at 1250, as 1249 and change. And so this was a decisive new closing high. It hit $3 higher than the previous high. And so it's kind of exciting. A lot of people are calling for gold to be $2,000 to $2,500 in the next year to 2 years. So we're definitely moving in that direction. Okay, there's a couple of questions on the board. Can you see the questions right now, Greg, or do you want me to read them?
No, I can't.
Okay. If you go to your little question thing and click the plus sign, you should be able to see them, but I'll go ahead and read them out to you. Karen asked a question. I think what you're saying here is it true that most of the gold in the world is in the sea, sunken ships that carried treasure? Is that what you meant to say, Karen? Is in the sea? Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Greg.
I don't know if most of the gold in the world is in sunken treasure ships around the world. I don't know if anybody does know the answer to that. There is a lot of it that is probably still at the bottom of the sea, but that's, of course, not the focus of my treasure hunting. That was just merely a comparison to other types of treasure hunting. The types of coins we're looking for, you won't find at the bottom of the sea.
Right. I do know one very interesting statistic, and I've actually seen it verified in a couple of different places. All the gold that's ever been mined in the history of the world would fit in 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Now, why is that important? It just points up how rare and valuable gold is. Olympic-sized swimming pool, granted, is very large, but all the gold that's ever been mined ever been produced in the history of the world would fit in 2 very large, huge Olympic-sized swimming pools. Okay, Dennis from New York asked, what's the level of investment to start with?
I get that question frequently, and there is no minimum, but I can't obviously suggest you consider buying a $30,000 coin if you only have $10,000. So, for instance, the Mega Rarities slide had a picture of a coin where there's 3 to 5 known to exist. That coin's worth $35,000. If it was a U.S. coin, it'd be worth probably 10 times that amount. So that's a great coin, but obviously not for you if you've only got $5,000 or $10,000 to invest in. So the way I work with people is you tell me what your budget is, and I'll suggest what might be possible. So there's no place to order anything. This is all requires a physical hunt somewhere around the world to find them. So the best way to start is for you to tell me your parameters, and then I'll make some suggestions. For instance, someone who has $100,000 to invest, or $250,000, obviously has more flexibility than someone has a few $1,000s to invest in. And I'm not going to suggest very rare, expensive coins to someone who only has a small amount to invest in. That's not saying that the coins that cost smaller amounts of money are not good, because I don't buy anything that's not good. It's just that my focus is on the best. And if you can afford the best, you'll make the most money buying the best. History has always shown that the best goes up the most.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to emphasize is that Greg does something very similar to what I've done for the last 35 years as a financial planner. He actually builds portfolios of rare gold coins, just like I used to build portfolios of stocks and so on. And these are tailored to the needs of the individual. So just as he was describing, depending on the amount of money you have to work with, he'll tailor a portfolio to your needs. And if you have certain financial parameters to work with, then I'll get involved. Like, for instance, we have one client that has money in a charitable remainder trust, and they have to, they're required by the bylaws of the trust to pull out a certain percentage of their money each year. So I got involved with helping to design that portfolio, because we had to have a certain percentage of the portfolio more liquid. So the majority of the portfolio was put into longer-term rare coins, and a smaller percentage of the portfolio was put into coins that were more liquid in the near bullion arena. So we're very sensitive to the needs of the individual needs of the people, and we look at your liquidity needs, your needs to like, for instance, if you're buying in your retirement account, okay, we know how to work with that. We have IRA custodians that will work with us to allow people to invest in gold coins in an IRA. I know a lot of people tell you that that can't be done, but it can be done. You just have to know how to structure it properly. Okay, any other questions before we wrap up for tonight? All right. Well, this has been a great webinar tonight, Greg. We appreciate it. And
You're more than welcome. I hope you all learned something new and interesting, and hope that you'll be able to listen to the seminars we give next week that will go into greater detail and continue the series. So look forward to that. Also, if again, if you'd like to talk to me personally about some of these issues, send an email to Tom, and we'll set up a time when we can talk. This is not a sales organization. This is more of a club, and we're building a relationship among each other. So I try to make myself available for everyone to answer any questions. So for that reason, we're trying not to have make this too big in terms of the number of people involved, because I like having interaction with everyone about the questions they have as they learn more and more about the coins.
All right. Well, thank you. Don't forget, 2 weeks from tomorrow, the Gold 101 to 401 will start. There'll be a different webinar every Wednesday at noon, starting 2 weeks from tomorrow on June 23rd. So spread the word. Let your friends know. I mean, if you were in a country where people were starving and you knew where there was some food available, you wouldn't be so selfish as to keep it all to yourself, would you? Well, you're in a situation, you're living in a country right now where the dollar is becoming worth less and less almost every month. The dollar is dropping in value. In the last 77 years since our country went off the gold standard, the dollar has lost 96% of its value. And you're possessing information that the vast majority of Americans don't know. So don't be selfish. Don't keep it to yourself. Let your friends know. Let them know about these webinars. A lot of people that are retired or have their own businesses, they can make a daytime webinar. People in other countries, this is one of the reasons we're doing this. A lot of people in other countries, it's a lot more convenient for them than these evening webinars. So spread the word. 2 weeks from tomorrow, the structured webinars, basic, intermediate, advanced, and PhD. We'll start on the 23rd of June, and just make sure they know it's New York time, and just have them send me an email, and I will send the link to it, okay? And don't forget that next week, our Tuesday webinar will be on Monday. So that's a very important thing to know. Make sure you mark your calendar, because I know we've been doing them on Tuesday nights for well over a year, so this is an important departure. And then I'll just leave this up on the screen. If you need to contact us, there's the telephone number and there's the email address. All right? Appreciate everyone being here tonight. You have a great week. We'll see you back here next week. Good night, and God bless you.
Good night.